Hey guys, this is D, aka Dark Frozen Depths, back with another Kamihime pre-event video. Now, normally I don't really do it for these rerun things, but I might as well anyways. But we're about to have a rematch between Rahab, who's water, and Medusa, who's darkness. So, elemental advantage teams are going to end up being Thunder and Light. But in this case, definitely use whoever you can, because these two are going to be having some very tough Ragnarok fights, which I'll get into in a second. Excuse me. But here's the thing. Rahab has um a water I think it's water attack instead of water characters attack increase. I'm not fully sure if I'm right, but at max limit break she gives 30% water attack and 20% ability damage. So that's something interesting. Medusa, on the other hand, is darkness character attack and burst streak damage. So max limit break for her, she gives 30% darkness attack. 30% attack power for darkness characters, and then also gives 30% burst streak damage. Now, burst streak damage actually does come in handy if you can pull off a lot of bursts, or you just need it in order to nuke a boss to oblivion. But in the case of Rahab, she's probably better off because Medusa also gives a darkness debuff, which is either darkness or poison, one of the two, but it's not that great compared to other Adolans, so her summon effect really isn't all that great. Of course, get her if you don't really have anybody else. Rahab, on the other hand, thunder resistance when you summon her. So that could be useful for quite a few teams. Mainly a water one, but for quite a few teams. But here's the thing. Their weapons get even better. And the weapons, I know, like, I'll get to weapon right now. Once this wants to translate, there we go. This one is an Assault SSR for water. And those are usually highly valued. When we excuse me, when we get 4th limit break stages for weapons, then this will end up being given defender as well. So considering that a lot of event weapons get 4th stage, you might want to pay attention to that. But that's not until way later down the line, until we're able to do guild orders. Now going back to that page. And sorry, I'm still a little bit sick. But of course, during all your fights you get magic jewels, you get cores and all that. Now, in this case, you want to be careful. The HP, I think, is a little bit of a lie because I think she has 850,000 HP on Ultimate. But the main thing about her is the fact that she'll hit everybody and increase her own damage. Now, on Ultimate, this could be a problem because she can buff herself twice. I don't know if they count as 2 different stacks, but regardless of her charge move, you're going to need to be careful. Ragnarok's where this fight gets really tricky. She's got 3 million HP, but you see the charge amount? 1. Meaning that she will be buffing her attack power a lot. Don't even try to remove it, because it's just going to come back before you even really get a chance to remove it again. What makes it dangerous is the fact that when you use it under raging, a dot is automatically filled back. They get 1 charge. So unless you're using somebody that can increase or decrease the charge amounts, you're going to get nuked non-stop. For this reason, I have to recommend using Mordred or Joan as your souls. Mordred can buy you 1 extra charge. Joan, she can tank at least some bit. Plus, she comes with a massive attack down that's going to be needed. So, you need to be able to maneuver the charges a bit, or you just need to outright nuke the crap out of her before you can get taken out. That's what makes this one really tough. This is the least amount of charges you ever see on any boss ever that I've seen so far. And considering I've been playing since the pre-event, yeah. That's going to be a problem because she'll keep buffing her attack power regardless and keep nuking everybody with damage. I don't think I've cleared this without an elixir before, so I'm going to try to this time now that I'm stronger. But you definitely, like the thing is, they suggest Cassiopeia because of the chaos magic. Don't worry about it. If you're doing ultimate, maybe. But Ragnarok, don't worry about it. Because ultimate has 2 charges. Ragnarok has 1. They say right off the bat, use black propaganda. And you probably just want to hope Dizzy sticks too. Paralysis also comes in handy as well. So if you got Thor, there you go. Well, not just Thor, but Balor. She's able to do it too. Balor's darkness though. Thor is actually thunder. So Thor gets a damage boost. But that's the whole thing. 1 charge. Be very careful. You will get nuked non-stop and raging if you do not increase the charge gauge with black propaganda. That's why you might want Mordred, you might want Joan, you might want somebody that can heal you. In which case I go for Andromeda more than anybody because she got the defense buff too. Either way, be very careful in this Ragnarok. However, that's not the only one. Now we get into Medusa. And here's what we're going to go into first, which is a weapon. Excuse me. I mainly got this because I don't have too much dark weapons. But at first glance, it's going to give you HP. So it's a defender one. And that's the thing. I don't get too many darkness weapons. I honestly have more light weapons than darkness because I pulled them SSRs. But, yeah, it seems darkness doesn't get too many weapons either. You still want HP for darkness anyways, at least 1. Because as much as people say, oh, get assault grids so much, you still need HP. So you need at least 1 defender in there somewhere. Unless you got dual element like a lot of light weapons I've seen had, you want at least 1 defender. Preferably an SSR defender so you get an additional 6%, but that's the whole thing. Now, going further in, of course, same drills before. 1 Ragnarok fight per day, which means you get 2 per day if you really want to be honest, since these are the rematches usually give you 2. You get magic jewels if you haven't cleared it before, of course, because I don't know if we already had a rerun with these 2. We might have, I'm not sure. But this is what makes Medusa a little bit dangerous. She has a good chance to do Petrify. And what Petrify does, stops your turn outright. There's no chance of it like Dizzy. It's like paralysis for your characters. A few turns, you're going to be stuck there not being able to do anything. No burst, no healing, no nothing. Because I think it nullifies your abilities too. But, the biggest thing is the fact that they're just a sitting duck. So that's the thing that you're going to have to worry about. She can also poison everybody too. That's both on expert and ultimate. Now, Ragnarok. This hits everybody, and it has a good chance of doing petrification as well. Petrification is almost guaranteed to stick on you at this point, I do believe. So, be very careful. Be very, very careful with this. they're suggesting to you is to get characters where you can increase the charge amount. So of course Mordred, but she also increases your resistances, so that gives you a chance of actually resisting it. Get characters that can remove debuffs and all that. You definitely want somebody that can hit pretty hard, because she has a decent portion of HP in Ragnarok, but I forgot how much. I don't think it's that much compared to Rahab though. Rahab is a damage race, so she's going to have low HP, but Medusa is sort of the same way. But that's going off of what I remember, because I tried it before. I don't think I've cleared a Ragnarok either. But they suggest Mordred. They suggest debuffing her attack power and whatnot, and her defense power, of course. You always want to do that. In fact, thanks to my team comp, I'm already running Mordred for light. But that's the whole thing. Light definitely gets the advantage here, so keep that in mind. And the biggest thing is definitely that petrification, because anybody that's really stuck with it is going to have problems. If I remember correctly, it does prevent abilities from being used, so that's one thing to be careful about. But anyways, that's what I got for this. And I hear it a few times, but my suggestion to you is to prioritize the following. Always get one copy of the SSR Adolin, regardless. Main reason I say that is because you can get extra magic jewels from that. Just level them up, get their scene, get the magic jewels. Now, if you want to really use that Adolin, then you might want to get more copies of them. Rahab's a good example, because at the very least she's got thunder resistance when you use her as a summon instead of as a main or a friend thing. So that alone gives her a little bit of value. Now, in the case of the weapons, if you're packing on a lot of SSR weapons, then that's where you might want to get picky about it, because if you already got an SSR defender for darkness, then you might want to skip this weapon. But quite frankly, the way I see it, just get a lot of that element anyways. When it comes to assault weapons, they'll definitely go after them, because you definitely want the attack power boost. That's one of the top priorities. But because my fire characters don't have any defender weapons, that's why they die so fast. So that's why I said HP is also needed. But that's the whole thing. You may have to be a little bit picky on the darkness weapon, or the darkness event in general. But for newer players just starting out, go all in on that one. Me personally, I have 2 copies of Medusa, and I think I only got 1, maybe 2 copies of her weapon. I'm going to finish off her weapon for sure. I'm going to finish off Rahab's weapon and possibly finish her off as well. But it also depends on the stats of the Adolins too, because I'm going to go into that as well. Because you also got to keep in mind, you need stats as well. In the case of HP, Medusa gets a lot of it. Attack power, she sucks. Because there's a lot more Adolins that go way higher in attack power than her. That's all the more reason why you probably won't go grinding for Medusa so much. But in the case of Rahab, decent HP, decent attack power. And this is saying water attribute characters get 30%. I gotta double check that, because if it is true, that means it's water attack and not water character attack. Water attack right now seems to be better than character attack, but either way, if you're not packing too many Adolins or whatnot, go for it. The ability damage is a nice bonus, because that really does help. Especially in the case if you get a character that can just nuke. But that thunder resistance is the main reason why you might want her, because people tend to overlook. When you get stuff for your grids, you got to factor in stats, and you got to factor in effects. That's why I said the looms are still worth it. because you might not want to use them as a main because it'll lower your overall damage output that you could be getting. But you still want them in the summon pool because of the simple fact that you can get an element boost. That's what you got to think about. So, that said, try to plan ahead, do a little bit of research as you can. I've already laid out some groundwork for you on this video, but plan ahead on that. Anything else I got to suggest you go after? Get soul points as you need them, because when you start going after the SSR stuff, you'll eventually end up having one item that's just not being used. You can get 100 free soul points off of that. Definitely go after the elixirs. The more elixirs you got, the better. Definitely go after the gacha tickets, because they're just free chances out of gacha. Go for it, seriously. Especially if you're a free player, because that's your main way of getting any more characters anyway. Aside from Magic Jewels, of course. Anything else I'd have to suggest is maybe the books for getting your Kamihime awakened. Or well, if you got Awakened Kamihime, you're definitely going to need those books. But I mean, for getting them limit breaking. The silver ones, not so much, because only SR characters need them, and Awakened SSR. So if you have anybody that's Awakened, they'll probably need some silver books. You may or may not need them for your SR characters. It depends. If you're like me that got a ton of characters, you probably won't need them. The gold books you definitely might need, but I would only get like maybe a few of those, if anything. If you really have the time to grind this whole thing out, clean the whole shop out. Because you'll also see some Assault SR weapons in there too. Those can help you if you don't have a full grid. Or you might find a defender you might need too. I'm probably going to look for a few fire defenders at this point. But that's the whole thing. Plan ahead, know what you need, there you go. Now, there's been a few guys that actually help you out with this type of stuff, and I'll post them in the comments. But as far as I'm concerned, you really do have to work with what you got. That's the biggest misconception about this. I've seen it a few times before, even on the forums I've been on, where it's suggested, oh, you have to go after this character, or you have to go after this character because they're going to end up being the best. Not everybody can do that. Work with what you got. That's the whole reason why I even did this suggestion for the Ragnarok fights, because these are some very difficult Ragnarok fights. I'm not kidding on that. If you're a player that can probably just sit and go smash the crap out of rank 4 accessories, then you probably don't have to worry about it too much. If you're a player that can sit and do 50,000 in one hit, then you probably don't have to worry about it either. But the biggest thing about this is the fact that this is more geared towards the average player, and especially new ones. So, the biggest thing about this game is the fact that there's so many ways to get stronger. You have to do your research. That's why I got those, that's why I got the links in the comments. But anyways, I've gone on long enough about this. This might seem a little bit overwhelming because it's 2 events at once, but if you keep grinding at it, you'll eventually pick up on it. From what I know too, they also lowered the AP cost too, because there is 2 events, so I think you get like up to 25% less AP spent. So anyways, that's all I got for this, guys. More Kamihime project definitely going to come soon, because I'm going to try and clear both Ragnarok fights without an elixir. Also, a new game called Sacred Sword Princess is coming up, but that's all for now, guys. Take care.